Hello friends, this is Hedda. Welcome back to my channel. You guys have been asking for more reading journal videos, so in this video I'm going to take you through the books that I read in August. I'm going to make spreads for all of them, talk about the books, and of course set up my September cover page in my reading journal. This video is kindly sponsored by Luisa. You might have seen some glimpses of their jewelry on me in my previous YouTube videos and also on Instagram, because I've been wearing their jewelry non-stop for the past 3 weeks, I think. You guys know that I value sustainability, both in terms of stationery and also in the stuff that I wear and eat. For example, I try to avoid synthetic fabrics as much as possible and would rather buy organic cotton or wool. And Luisa uses recycled materials whenever it's possible. And the company is actually carbon and water neutral. I was sent these beautiful pieces in these really cute cotton pouches, and I've actually been using them to store my jewelry in whenever I'm not using them. They come in different colors and different sizes, and I don't like my jewelry laying around out in the open, so I've been using these a lot. The necklace that I got is called Mauve Abalone. It's made from brass and coated in 14 karat gold. The pendant has abalone shell and cubic zirconia, and I love the look of zirconia, it's just so pretty. My bracelet is also 14 karat gold on brass, and it has a little snake decorated with cubic zirconia. I absolutely love this bracelet. It was the first piece that I picked out, so I'm really happy that I could get this one. Lastly, I really wanted a simple, elegant and noticeable ring, so I landed on this 14 karat gold on brass ring with black onyx. It's called Reese Onyx. I'm usually worried about buying rings online, but I used their size guide and the ring actually fits me perfectly. I got a size 8. It's so shiny and beautiful. Of course, I always take it off whenever I wash my hands because you want to be careful with gold-plated jewelry and not like wear them in the shower or wear them when you wash your hands so that they will last a long time. Luisa has been so kind and created a 10% discount code just for you guys. It is mochibujo10, and you'll also find a link to Luisa in the description box below. A little secret before I move on, I have actually placed an order with Luisa after I received these pieces. I was just really impressed with them, and there was just so much else from Luisa that I could see myself wearing, so I placed an order and I'm currently waiting for it in the mail. I got the Gaia bracelet and the Lee earrings, and I did use my own discount code. Thank you again so much to Luisa for sponsoring this video and for being an environmentally conscious and ethical company. You will see me wearing their jewelry in all of the clips in this video, I think, because I've been wearing them so much. I'm starting off this little journey through my August reads at the dining table with some homemade cold brew coffee. I've had at least one coffee per spread I've made in my reading journal. That's kind of funny to think about. The first book I read in August was Book of Night by Holly Black. I was actually sent this book by Book of the Month earlier this year, so I have a beautiful hardcover version of this book. It's the first book I ever read by Holly Black, and it's also the first adult fantasy book she's published, as her other books lean more towards young adult, if I'm not mistaken. And you might think that with a title like Book of Night, I might have gone for a dark, spooky theme, but no. I went for a cute, pink and blue kind of Japanese aesthetic just to confuse you. No, but really, I say this in every reading journal video, but I don't like trying to capture the feel or aesthetic of the book in my spreads. I'm sure it would look amazing. It would be really cool, but I just want to be free to explore different themes for each spread, using different colors, different aesthetics, and I've been itching to use some of these stickers and washi tapes for the longest time, so I just went for it. I didn't really know what to expect from this book, but after reading the blurb, it seemed like an interesting, kind of different story. It's an urban fantasy book, which means it's set in the real world if the real world had some elements of magic to it. So in the world of Book of Night, you can make your shadow come alive, and if you're really good at it, your shadow can interact with other beings and do things for you. So of course there are people who exploit this for evil reasons, and Charlie, the main character, gets kind of caught up in some of this business. It's sometimes difficult for me to differentiate between adult and young adult fantasy, but I guess this book has some graphic, violent scenes in it, and of course there's the fact that the protagonist works in a bar, so there's a lot of alcohol mentioned. And also I guess this book is very much a love story, although it is very subtle and not really in your face. There isn't any spice really, so I would have totally enjoyed this book as a young adult, but I guess everyone is different in that sense. It is also kind of a murder mystery, or at least very much a mystery. So it has a lot of elements from different genres, I think, and it makes it very entertaining. It was easy to read, although sometimes I felt like the magic system needed a bit more developing. I didn't always quite understand how the magic system worked, but it turns out that this isn't a standalone, that there will be a second book, maybe even more from what I've read, so it will probably be more developed in the next book, and I'm really excited for that. I will definitely pick up the next one whenever it's released. I am quite relieved that there will be a second book because this book ended on quite the cliffhanger, so yeah. I think that the story can definitely be developed into a lot more than it is right now. Sometimes I worry about critiquing books that I read because I feel like it made it sound like I didn't like it, which is not the case. I really enjoyed this book and it was really fun to read. It was different, and it's always fun to read books by authors that I haven't read before, because there will be a new type of writing and like a new interpretation of certain things, and it's just very enjoyable. Now let's talk a little bit about the spread, because the theme is really cute. I really like how it turned out. I used some washi tapes from Notebook Therapy's collection called Sights of Japan, and it combines blue and kind of a deep pink, which is a really interesting color combination that I don't use very often, so definitely wanted to try it for the spread. The hand sanitizer vinyl sticker is from Graffiti Trash Studio. I absolutely love her art. I haven't made an order from her shop for quite some time, so it's definitely time to restock on a few sticker sheets and vinyl stickers. I don't know where the monitor sticker is from, but it was sent to me by one of you guys. Same with the girl sticker in the bottom left corner, as well as the Milkoyo stickers, like the taiyaki stickers with the cat coming out of its mouth, and also the notepad or the memo pad from Milkoyo. Those were also gifted to me by one of you guys. There are also some washi stickers here, the cute little cats eating ramen and everything. Those are by Mocha Mochi Cake, I think. And these stickers were part of the Notebook Therapy lucky bag from last year. It came out in like November, December 2021. And I was also part of their sticker pack for that box. And I actually haven't used any of those stickers for anything yet, so this is the first time I brought them out and used them, so really like how it turned out. I also used these circle stickers that one of you guys sent to me in a pen pal letter, and I think that they worked really well with the theme, and adding a little bit of yellow was also really fun. I made the title kind of a cute bubbly font because I thought it would fit with all of the decoration, and that's really all there is to the spread, I think. I don't think I have anything else to say about it. I love how it turned out, and I love how different it is from my other reading journal spreads. So yeah, definitely enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed Book of Night. Would recommend it. The next stop on my little reading journey was a coffee shop kind of west in Salt Lake City. I don't actually remember what it's called right now, but it was a really cute coffee roasting place, and there was a little flower shop outside, which I definitely had to check out. And the guy running it had like 3 German Shepherds, and I love German Shepherds, so I enjoyed this place very much. So at this place I got a regular black coffee, the lightest roast that they had, because I love light roasted coffee. I guess that's just the Norwegian in me, but light roast coffee just tastes so much better than dark roast coffee. Anyway, for this bread I went for a more cottagey theme, and I used a lot of stickers from Marigona Suli Art. I've had these stickers for quite some time, and I just really wanted to make a spread with them. They go so well with all kinds of vintagey ephemera and stationery, so it was really easy to put the stickers together with washi tape and ephemera I already had, so that's always a plus. And this spread is for a fantasy series I started in August called the Oromere Chronicles. The first one is called Heart of Mist, and this series is by an author called Helle Schroyer. I have no idea how to pronounce her last name. It sounds German. It might be Schurer. Anyway, she's Australian, and it's a 3-book series with an extra collection of short novellas, short stories. And this book was actually recommended to me by my friend San a really long time ago, and I guess I just never picked it up until now. I actually got a really good deal on Audible, because you could get like all 3 books plus the short stories for 1 credit. So that was my Audible purchase for August. On Barnes & Noble, each of the books are like $17, so I definitely felt like it was better to get all 3 books plus the short stories for 1 Audible credit. And that meant that I listened to the series as an audiobook, and at first I didn't quite like the narrator very much. She kind of made the protagonist Bleak sound a little bit whiny, I thought, in the beginning. I guess with most voices you kind of get used to them over time, and I don't feel like she's a bad narrator now after having listened to all 3 books, but it did take me a minute to just like get into it in the beginning. It actually suited me very well to listen to this book as an audiobook, because as you know, I traveled from Norway to the US during August, and it's always nice to have an audiobook on the plane. I love listening to audiobooks while I'm traveling. It just makes time pass so much faster, and I don't really like looking at screens for that long. I mean, I look at screens all day, every day, but I don't like watching TV shows and movies for like hours on end, which you easily end up doing that when you're on a plane, right? So yeah, and you don't have to carry a book with you, so even better. So a little bit about the book without spoiling anything. I'll do my best. The first character you meet is Bleak, and you learn that this is set in a fantasy world, and there are people with magic and people without magic, and in the kingdom that Bleak lives in, people with magic have kind of been shunned for a long time, and there's like something moving, something kind of evil spreading through the land, and you meet other characters as well, like the commander Swinton, who works for King Arden. And I actually learned this recently, but in the UK there are, I think, 2 or 3 families that can like trace their lineage really far back to like the 1500s or something, and 2 of those are the Arden family and the Swinton family. So like the actress Tilda Swinton, she's part of that Swinton family, and I just thought this was really cool, and it has to have been intentional by the author to include these 2 families in the book. I just thought it was a really interesting detail, and I had no idea that these 2 families were so old. What I like about this book is that you get to meet a lot of different characters, and you get to read from several characters' point of view, and it switches quite regularly, so you get to learn a little bit about many characters all at once. Really enjoyed the quick shift between the different points of views. I also love that there are so many different characters and so many female characters, like a lot of women in power and a lot of strong women women having conversations with other women about important things and, all that jazz. So yeah, I definitely like that about this book. It definitely has like feminist elements in it and touches upon sexual assault, like themes around being a woman in a world that is very much catered to men. So we have this like one group of people, this one land where traditionally the women lead and the men take care of the household and the family. And it's very different from the rest of the world that this story is set in. It's like an extreme opposite to a world that we might be used to with traditionally women taking care of the home and the household and the family, and men being leaders and, taking care of business. So it's very interesting to see the opposite. And I'm not saying that that's the right way to do things, because obviously I personally would like a more fair share, fair division of labor and everything, but it's definitely an interesting method of showing how skewed the world is in many ways. I don't know, there are so many fantasy books out there that try to mimic a kind of Western medieval world where women are poorly treated and men can do whatever they want, and most of the main characters are men, and we've just had so much of that. So this is very refreshing. I like it. I will say though, I didn't quite feel that connected to the characters after reading the first book, and I felt a little bit indifferent to the story. I was like, is this really like that good? Am I like continuing the story? And I think it helped that I had already purchased the entire series, so it was very easy to just start on the next one right away and just see where it went, which is what I did. And I'm glad that I did that now that I have finished the series. I read the first 2 books during August, so those are the spreads that I'm making in this video, but as I am recording this, I have finished the entire series. So yeah, that was Heart of Mist. And the next stop on my journey was the Honeysuckle Coffee Company, which I go to a lot here in Salt Lake, but this is a new location that they just opened. It's definitely more downtown in Salt Lake, and it's really cute, and they have all the same things and everything, so I really love it. It's a little bit bigger as well. So yeah, now here I am making my spread for Reign of Mist, which is the second book in the Orremer Chronicles. And I went for a green and purple theme. I was kind of inspired by my own stickers from June, and I was gifted this dot grid paper, this green paper, by one of you guys. I think it might be from Archer and Olive, but I'm not 100% sure. But it fit my Archer and Olive notebook well, so there is that. I picked out a bunch of purple stickers for like the accents, and then I tried something a little bit different with the green paper, where I cut it up into rectangles and kind of spread them around the page and just like glued them down, and I'll be writing over it. So it'll just be like a pop of color, but not just for decoration. It'll just be kind of in the background. So you'll see what I mean when I'm done with the spread. It will make a little bit more sense. I also used some washi tape that was gifted to me by one of you guys. It has this really cute daisy field with a windmill and some clouds, and it feels very Studio Ghibli. That's the feeling that I get when I look at this washi tape. I also mixed in some vintage elements, like this page out of an old Swedish book, and I made sure to add pops of purple here and there so that it wouldn't be too green and it wouldn't be too purple. And I think I achieved quite a nice balance between the two colors. It is a difficult color combination. As you know, if you watched my June plan with me video in my bullet journal, I struggled a lot with the combination of green and purple, but now I actually really like it. So that's why I wanted to revisit it in this spread. Also, I kind of felt the need to make a very summery spread because it it is September and it feels like it should be fall, but where I am right now in Utah, it's very much still summer. We still get 30 degrees and sun, so it is very warm and very summery and not fall-like at all. I mean, I still get the pumpkin spice lattes when I want them, but it's just, I don't know, there's something off when it's so warm in September. Anyway, let's talk more about the book. So, Reign of Mist is the second book in the Ormare Chronicles, and I always like the second books in trilogies or chronicles because they develop the story a lot more and they kind of build up to this final, well, in this case, the final battle, but in, the final thing that will happen in the third book. And in a lot of fantasy books, there's like a big war at the end. And I like that this book had a lot of action happening, like so much happened in the second book, and a lot of character development. That was maybe the biggest thing. A lot of the characters had so much happen to them that changed them for the better or worse. It's hard to talk about this because it's the second book and I don't want to spoil anything, but I definitely found more sympathy for the characters in the second book. I felt a lot more invested in the characters. Like, my favorite character is Dash. I guess he stole my heart in the first book. He's just a child. He's just really, really sweet. And I just knew that like bad things would happen to him and it would be really sad because like why else would you bring such a kind, sweet child into this story when there's like so much bad things going on, and then there's just this nice little kid, and I don't know. He's just a very good kid. His character development was definitely very big. He changed a lot in the second book. I don't really know what else I can say without spoiling things, but everything I said about book 1 also applies to book 2, except for the fact that I felt more invested in the characters in the second book, and I was actually very excited to start the third book after reading the second book. So for my spread, I went for a very simple title again, Reign of Mist. I did Reign in a kind of bubble font that I colored in purple, and then I did Of Mist with my Tombow Futonosuke. I think the soft tip is the one that I used for this. And I sometimes don't always think about where the title will go when I start making a spread. So this title on the spread was definitely an afterthought. There's a lot going on the spread, but I guess the top right corner was the only place the title could go, really. I did some sparkles in black. I could have also used gold, but I guess I just went with black with my Muji gel pen. This is my favorite pen to write with, but I don't always use it in my reading journal. I am worried that I will use up all the ink. I am down to just one refill now, so yeah. But I used it for the spread because I didn't really have any gel pens that would fit the color combination, and I wanted to use more black since Reign of Mist is in black. So that's that, and that's the third and last book that I read during August. And now, as we know, the last thing to do is set up the spread for the coming month, which would be September. And to set up the spread, I went to my local honeysuckle coffee shop again, but the other branch this time. And I sat at this like kind of marble table, which is different from the usual wood tables that I usually pick out. And it looked really pretty, but it was a little bit less sturdy than some of the other tables there, so there was a little bit of shaking. But, it's not the end of the world. And this is actually the first thing that I made using the Cloud Dreamland collection from Notebook Therapy. You might have seen in my previous video, I did a pen pal letter themed around this whole collection, but this spread is the first thing that I actually used all of that stuff for. So I was really excited to get out all of my blue stationery and make a kind of dreamy cloud theme for my September cover page. And I also made sure to bring in a lot of vintage elements because the scrapbooking set actually has a lot of vintage ephemera, like a lot of vintage paper, and blue and vintage is, I don't know, so hard to wrap my head around because I feel like all of this like old ephemera has a very warm tone to it, and then blue is very cold, and so it was a little bit difficult for me to envision inside of my brain, but I did my best and I think it actually turned out really nice. So here I'm just cutting out some labels, or rather like cutting around, so that they take up a little bit less space because this spread turned out really crowded. I guess I just tried to jam as much ephemera and stickers as possible into the spread. I even forgot to make a September header, so that's how intent I was on just making it really full of stuff. There's so much going on in the spread. I don't even know where to look when I look at it. Everyone makes their reading journal in their own way. You know, there is no one size fits all for a reading journal. And for me personally, the cover pages serve the purpose of separating the spreads and kind of showing myself what I read those months. So the only thing that I'm really writing on this cover page is the books that I am reading in September. That's the only thing, the only function that the spread serves. And sometimes I look at my patrons' reading journal spreads and they have all these like statistics and like so many cool things on their cover pages, and I'm like, oh, maybe I should do that. But at the same time, for me, my reading journal is just as much about just exploring themes that I'm not doing in my bullet journal as it is to record my reading. Obviously, I'm sure it's like that for many other people as well. I'm not special in that sense. But I definitely do less statistics and less tracking than most people might do in their reading journals, or at least most people that I see online and in my Patreon Discord server, which, by the way, if you're not part of my Patreon yet, maybe this is a good time to join. It was a very smooth plug, wasn't it? I did mention earlier that I forgot to make a title for the spread, but what I did do is I wrote 9. September is the 9th month, so that was the thought behind that. I actually thought about putting the number 9 somewhere in the spread anyway, and now I'm glad that I did it, since I did forget to write September. But yeah, this left side only has a collage. I really got to play around with the Cloud Dreamland set from Notebook Therapy, and also some ephemera and stickers that you guys have sent to me in pen pal letters, and it was just really fun. It was definitely a very spontaneous, creative process here. I just kind of did whatever felt right in the moment, no planning at all. I literally just brought with me all of the blue ephemera and stickers that I had at home and just like dumped it all on the table. And that's how this spread came to be. And then the right side of the spread will have the books that I'm reading in September. I did cut out 4 frames for September, but when I realized that I had forgotten to write September, I did repurpose one of those frames to write books that I read in September. And I think that was a good idea because so far I haven't read as much in September than I thought I would. So I'm pretty sure I'll be able to read 3 books, but I don't think I'll make it to 4. So yeah, it turned out quite nicely, I guess. In the future, I might consider making the cover pages after the month. And sometimes I think about this because when I make a reading journal video, for example this one, books that I read in August, the thumbnail has my September spread on it. So I don't know, maybe that is a little bit confusing that I am mixing those 2 months, but it's just what has worked for me so far. But obviously I am totally up for changing it up. Maybe for 2023 I might try a different way of making these reading journal videos. I don't know. If you have any suggestions, or requests, wishes, just let me know and I'll see what I can do about it. I am definitely open for new suggestions or different ways to make these videos. I am really happy that I have challenged myself this year to make monthly reading journal videos, because the past years that I did a reading journal, I only did like one video a year. So yeah, it's definitely been really fun and I am excited for the rest of the year. This notebook will last me through the year, and I also don't think it will be completely full by the end of the year, but I am planning on starting a new notebook for 2023 just to, get that new year, new journal feeling that we all love so much. I definitely read a lot of fantasy during August, and in September we're already halfway through September, so I already know some of the books that I've read, of course. There will be a little bit of fantasy, but also like a little bit of a different type of books that I haven't read that much before this year, so I am really excited to share those with you in my next reading journal video. And when I post that September reading journal video, I will be caught up with my reading journal videos, which will feel amazing. So yeah, we're almost there. We're almost caught up. If you have read the Book of Night or the Oromare Chronicles, or both of them, I would love to hear your opinions on them in the comments. Just make sure to not spoil anything for those who haven't read them before, especially Book of Night, because it is a very new book, so many people might not have been able to pick it up yet. So yeah, but let me know what you thought of them, if you agree with me or if you didn't. I'd love to know. It's fun to talk about books with different people. Thank you so much for following along on my reading journey. We're going to do a little flip through of all of the spreads with some close-ups so that you can see the full lineup of the spreads that I made for this month. If you watched this video all the way to the end, then make sure to put a blue emoji in your comment. And thank you again so much to Luisa for sponsoring this video. If you ever want to make a purchase with Luisa, then make sure to use my discount code mochibujo10 for 10% off. This is not an affiliate link, so I'm not making any money off of it. But if you use it, you tell Luisa that you came from me. I really appreciate you guys' support for my reading journal videos. They are really fun to make. I am super happy to be able to share what I read with you guys and talk about the books and hear your opinions as well. I've gotten so many good recommendations from you guys, so yeah, it's been really fun. I don't think I'm gonna reach my goal of reading 50 books this year, but I'm gonna be pretty close. I hope that you're all having a lovely day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!